was today is the anniversary. In 1998, Juvenile's Ha
24th
came out,
anniversary. Yeah.
and I was not someone that heard that song at the time or anything like that because
Mm-hmm.
regionalism and boundaries and stuff like that. I didn't hear about Juvenile until like Back That Ass Up came out. So
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe you could speak to this. Like, what is like that song and everything with it? Like what is that like really? What is that meant? And when you look back on it, like how did it make you feel?
Okay, so for me, um, Ha was like it was a big fucking deal down here. It was like it was just playing on the radio station nonstop. And then later, then like months later, Back That Ass came out. Then it was like, oh, like this is a thing. This is just a one hit wonder. This man just came out with two anthems back to back, and then 40 Degrees is so fucking awesome, right? So, like the dude, like the New Orleans scene was so. It was literally just Master P. Like all we knew was at that time was like is Master P and this dude like finessed off of like selling a whole bunch of records out of his trunk and at boot shops or whatever else. And like he ended up getting this deal and like it's a boutique label and they putting out an album out that boutique label like every 3 weeks, like fucking clockwork. Quality be damned. We don't give a look. Put the same tracks on the same on different albums. We don't give a fuck, right? So, so that was what New Orleans rap was from my perspective at that age, right? Because at that time, like we're talking about '98, like I'm 10, going to turn
Mm-hmm.
11. So, Ha hits here, and it's just like, what is this? And then the music video is just like, I know a lot of people think
This
like
is
it's
one of
the
the greatest
greatest
music
rap
videos of all
a
time.
lot of people think it's the greatest rap music video all time. I don't feel for it in that way, but it is an incredible look into like I think more than I think the first time I ever like thought of rap in that way of um you are a representative of like your city or your region, and like these videos are a look into that life. Like obviously you can say the same thing about any video like Number the G thing if you wanted to,
Mm-hmm.
or it ain't hard to tell when niggas under the bridge in the fucking North Face, right, and around the
Yeah,
dumpster
bobbing
fires.
their
Like
heads all hard. Yeah.
yeah, you can say it about anything, but like that was the first time it really crystallized to me. Like New Orleans has a southern grit that is distinct from Atlanta or Memphis or the stuff I saw from Miami at the time. For me as a person, it's like I grew up on all mostly southern rap, East Coast rap, southern rap, whatever else. But like I seeing that video and like just seeing like the that southern grit with like that kind of poverty of like, yeah, it's mucky out here, right? It's and meanwhile, like seeing some of those kids like being happy and then seeing some of those halls or whatever else, like it was just interesting, like the stuff they were able to capture in that video. And then as the video is explaining, like almost like while obviously he's doing the questioning thing, whatever else, but like all this stuff is talking about like this is a kind of a day in a life, while the video is like kind of matches with that, and it hit for me. It is very memorable, but like I had never heard production like that at the time. I thought like it was one of the craziest beats I ever heard in my life, especially when it gets to the hook, and I was like, especially it's just like, what is this? And obviously, years later, developing like Manny Fresh became one of my favorite producers of all time. And then Cash Money, like from off of that, like that was what launched. Obviously, that ass up is what like made it a thing where it's like it's not going nowhere. But like
Right.
Ha like launched it as far as like, okay, like this dude's a superstar, and like then you hear that album, like, oh yeah, this album absolutely backs up like what what we were thinking. And that was like a thing, like a Juvenile like release down here for like until he had to fall out with Cash Money was a big deal. Like G Code came out, it was a big deal. So you know, so it's hard to explain because it's like you look back in retrospect and it was such a short time. It's similar to wrestling when you talk about like people who have these peak runs or whatever else, but like that dude was a southern rap superstar from like 98 to like 2001. I wouldn't say that. I'd say like 2002. And then he was basically like, I'm done with my label. I got fucked out a bunch of money and had fallout. And then came back and like, I can't remember the name of that album, but like,
Need it in my life.
Yeah, that album. Like when that came out, that was a big deal for me. It was like, like I was like, oh, he's back. Like it seemed, he felt like he was going to be done, and like all the falling out between all the Cash Money stuff, BG left or whatever else. Like when BG dropped Living Legends first, I think on Kosh, like first album after leaving Cash Money, that was a big deal. Listen to that too. When he's basically calling Birdman a fuck nigga on like half them songs on a double disc, it was awesome. But yeah, like it's crazy. Like when people talk about culture or whatever else, like they hit market second nationally. Like everyone knew Master P. Everyone heard of, make them say, they had Snoop Dogg on the fucking label for Christ's sake, right? And for them to over time, like with the Hot Boys, with Big Timers, with solo releases from Wayne and BG and Juvenile, like when I look back over, like when I think of New Orleans rap, like I don't think of No Limit first. I think of Cash Money. This is even before we even get into like the President Carter stuff, Wayne basically taking off into the stratosphere. Like I'm talking about strictly like Carter won, like so basically like 1998 through 2004. Like I just think like they just like that's their mark on like rap, southern rap, their version of southern rap, and like in bounce and whatever else, and like and that's like the representative sound of the city for me when I think of New Orleans. I'm not saying it's necessarily fair, but like I think from a lot of people's perspective, when they think of from a national perspective, when they think of New Orleans rap, like the first people you're gonna think of are like Birdman because he fucked everybody, Juvenile, Wayne, and P. Still to this day, like there'll be new people, right? Then obviously like you have people like like Big Frida. Obviously it's more bounced and quote unquote rap, if you will. What's your boy's name? The R&B singer. I can't remember his name. Hold on. I can't remember his name. But the R&B singer made an album called Candy Drip. I can't remember what it was called. He's from New Orleans too. So there's still stuff out there or whatever, but like I just feel like I feel like they just like took it whole level. Like for them to, do that Cash Money Rough Riders tour, like I was in middle school, I think when that happened. I wanted to go to that so bad, and it came here. I just couldn't go.
Yeah.
But yeah, like no dude, like that whole thing was like launched off of Ha, and then back that ass up, and it just took off. And like some of like my childhood coming of age stuff is like listening to some of those albums. Some were great, some were not. Absolutely the fuck not. But they were fun nonetheless, and like I felt like I was like rooting these. All the dudes were young at the time. Almost like like watching the Pillars, seeing them come of age or whatever else throughout the thing. So I for Ha, like that was the launch, and it's a big deal. And like anytime I ever hear like 400 Degrees plays off, I'm just like I'm taken to another realm of existence. But yeah, like
I always thought Juvenile like had a really great gift for setting up hooks and stuff that you can chant along and repeat, and just like you be with Jesus. It's like this whole like shit that was dope. Like and I wasn't really here for the verses or anything
like set it off. Like for example, another one like set it off in this motherfucker, and also the last verse, Mr. Officer, take these motherfucking cuffs off of us. Like, that's the realest shit I've ever heard in my life. Like, so yeah, he was a big fucking deal, and like it's one of those kind of like when you talk about someone like a Baron Davis or Iverson or someone like T-Mac or whatever, like you had to be there. You had to be there to understand or have the proper context to like then see. Like I would love it would never. I don't think it would ever happen. I think it's too many weird things, but I would love a like in similar way that they did
The No Limit one.
the like Cash Money or No Limit or Irv got or doing Murder Inc. thing. Like there should be some like early Cash Money documentary thing of like how all of that stuff went through. I would sit down. I just devour that thing.
I feel like you got to put Manny Fresh in charge of it.
He's the only one trustworthy.
Yeah, Manny Fresh and Juve, I think, because Juvenile was older than a lot of them.
Yeah, yeah.
And I like a cool thing with
and they both squash a lot of that stuff. You know, and then even. Do you think Wayne and Baby's relationship is like actually really repaired? Or do you think they're just making public face of they've made up?
Public face.
Same.
Yeah. So
like that, what was that festival they did a couple years ago when he apologized? Like I was like, I don't buy that.
Yeah. But I know I always like the beats, and then I always talk about that documentary I like is on Netflix is like the Hip Hop Evolution thing, and the New Orleans episode they talk about the production is a straight line from New York rap to New Orleans. I'm like, this is why I always liked it. Like in the Trigger Man stuff comes directly from like New York or whatever. So it's very interesting. Dr. Stoppage left a lot of good comments in here. He said when he first heard Ha, he thought it was trash, but it grew on him like fungus. 400 Degrees was fire. The Source even gave it 4 mics. His top 5 producers from the South: Beats by the Pound, number 4, DJ Toomp, 3, Manny Fresh, 2, Timbaland, number 1, Organized Noise.
It's funny because like Toomp, Manny, and Timbaland are like 3 of my top 5 favorite producers. Period.